In the quest for lower back exercise, you may have come upon a very simple, very old school exercise called the lower back extension. What we get out of the lower back extension, in theory, is we're going to work our spinal erectors, these thick bands of muscle that run right between our spine. They play a key role in helping you stand up, and they're also going to be involved in a lot of other exercises that you're doing. They're going to play a key role in deadlifts when you stand up. They're going to play a key role in squats, and they play a key role in just about any lower body exercise you do. In addition to attacking the spinal erectors, you're going to get a lot of glutes when you do the lower back extension, because it's impossible for your glutes to not be involved in driving you into a straight upright position. So your glutes wind up getting a lot of work too. Now, do you need to do lower back extensions? The truth is, lower back extensions are not for everyone. In general, if you want to strengthen up your glutes and we want to get our spinal erectors to where we need them to be in terms of strength and mobility, you're better off doing a lot of the other exercises that you may think of, because they're going to treat your hinge more naturally. So we want to do our deadlifts, we want to get our Romanian deadlifts in, we want to do our good mornings, even squatting under load. All of that is going to challenge your glutes and your spinal erectors enough to get the growth that you need and to ready you for real life. That said, the lower back extension is a nice way to change things up. It's a nice way to finish off a workout. It's a nice, easy, light exercise that you can throw at the end of any session, or you can just use to warm up, especially if you do it the way we're going to teach you to do it today. So if you want to try the lower back extension, first you have to understand how to set up, and you have to understand the equipment that you need for it. The easiest way to do it is to use one of these machines if you have access to them. The key thing when we get into this machine though, and even when we're doing a DIY version of the lower back extension, is making sure that we set up properly and we create a position that's going to allow us to properly bend at the waist so that we can maximize the exercise. This machine is set too high for me, and this is going to be the biggest thing that's going to hold you back when you do lower back extensions. So as we can see here, what we don't want rather, is we do not want the machine height to wind up matching our hips, because now when I start to bend, I can't necessarily properly bend at the waist, and because I can't bend at the waist, because I wind up having to round my back, and I can't necessarily bend at my hip crease. So what you want to think about doing is making sure that the top of the machine is always lower than your hips by 2 to 3 inches. That's going to give you the space to properly fold at the waist so we can get the motion that we need. The easiest way to find that is always going to be to set up in the bottom position on the lower back extension. So if I go back to the top position, I can find that this is too high, because when I get to the bottom position, I just don't have the room to move. So what I can do is then I can play with this and keep bringing it lower and lower and lower, and just kind of folding my body over. And eventually I'm going to find that right height. Now I've got the 2 inches that I need. So now I can properly execute the exercise. Now, once you've found that proper height and setup, there are 2 prevailing ways to do the lower back extension. One is the traditional way, where we're going to wind up hitting our spinal extensors and we're going to hit our glutes a little bit. That's the way you're going to traditionally see this exercise done, and that may be the way you think you should do this exercise. I'm actually going to advise against doing this version of the exercise though, but first let me show you how to do it. So when we do the traditional lower back extension, we're going to think about locking our legs in position. I'm squeezing through my glutes, I'm squeezing through my quads, and I'm basically trying to create a lot of rigidity through my torso. I'm thinking of my torso as one straight piece that's going to stay in a straight line. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop as low as I can, maintaining as much core tension as I can. And again, thinking of keeping one straight piece of my torso, pause for a split second at the bottom, and I'm going to drive up, squeeze my glutes. I'm going to get a little bit of a squeeze through my lower back extensors. And you can go as far as you can. Everybody's going to have a little bit different lower back mobility as they do this. So you want to lower down as far as you can. That is the standard way to do a lower back extension. That is also not the way that I would advise doing it, and that's for 3 reasons. First reason, when we're doing lower back extensions this way, we're not necessarily reinforcing the proper mechanics that we want to learn when we drop down to the ground to pick anything up. We're not reinforcing those good deadlift mechanics, and we're not reinforcing something called our hinge. We are literally bending and folding at the waist, That is not how I want you to ever pick anything up, and that is not what we want to reinforce. The thing all of us need to learn how to do better is something called hinge. And that is the idea that when I reach down to get something, instead of just bending at the waist, I'm gonna push my butt back slightly and then reach down, which is actually a similar mechanic to what we do when we deadlift. It's also a lower back, safer mechanic for you in the long term. Second reason I'm not crazy about this version of the exercise is because our lower back extensors are already tight. We don't necessarily need to spend so much time shortening them under load. And when we do the traditional version of the lower back extension, it's going to be a lot of glute, but it's still a lot of those lower back extensors. We don't need those to shorten. When I stand here right now, they are already somewhat shortened. They're also getting a lot of work, and they have to contract when I'm doing my Romanian deadlifts, if I'm doing bent over rows, if I'm doing so many of my other exercises, they're already in that position. We don't necessarily need to make them stronger per se, and we don't need them shortening. That is not gonna help our lower back if we're in pain. That's not necessarily gonna make our lower back stronger for those other motions either, because we're so low load on an exercise like this. The third reason we don't necessarily want to do this is because very often it's very easy to do this wrong. We get onto this machine, we don't necessarily have a great sense of awareness, and all of a sudden, this return to neutral, which is where we want to return, becomes an overarch in the back. Now we're shortening those spinal extensors even more. It's just not worth it. If you're looking to do anything for your spinal extensors, I'd rather see you create mobility. Ideas like cat-cow, ideas like even just a standard forward fold, those are mobility and flexibility ideas, and those are a lot better for your lower back than the traditional lower back extension. Instead of doing the lower back extension that way, let's do it in a way that's gonna really focus it on our glutes. That's a body part that is worth isolating. As we grow and strengthen our glutes in isolation, we're gonna help protect our lower back. We're gonna get stronger for all those other exercises like Romanian deadlifts and squats and lunges, and we're gonna get a really, really good focused contraction, and we can get a really focused contraction out of this machine. So the change we're gonna make on our lower back extensions is we're actively going to try to round our back when we do this, and we're gonna maintain this position. And now all of a sudden, I've essentially taken my lower back extensors out of the motion, and I've made the key driver in bringing me up my glutes. In doing that, I'm gonna get a much more focused glute contraction, and it's those glutes that are gonna save me if I'm in lower back pain. And it's those glutes that play a key role in my hip hinge. And this is also not a motion that I'm gonna wind up mistaking for how I should bend over to pick anything up. I'm not gonna confuse it with my hinge. I already, just from doing those couple reps, I wind up feeling my glutes and hamstrings light up. So by doing that rounded back version of the lower back extension, I'm gonna get a nice focused glute contraction. You're still gonna be aiding your lower back. You're still gonna aid in protecting your lower back because the glutes play such a key role in that, and we're gonna get a nice finishing exercise out of that for our glutes. So that is the lower back extension, and especially if you're doing it the way that we're suggesting it here, it's gonna be a lot less lower back and a lot more glutes, but your lower back is still gonna thank you anytime you strengthen up your glutes. In terms of sets and reps, you wanna think of doing this for anywhere from 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps. It's a body weight motion too, so you can also push it much higher than that. Just think about going until you can no longer execute good clean reps, until you no longer feel that really, really good glute contraction. That moment will come for some of you a lot earlier than you may think, especially when we're doing that rounded back version, because it is a deeper glute contraction than you may expect. We can also load the exercise if we really want to. Just grab plates or dumbbells, keep them light. This is not an exercise that you need to go heavy. If you're gonna go heavy, you're a lot better off going heavy on your Romanian deadlifts, on hip thrusts, on other exercises like that. You can actually do this at the end of almost any workout because you're not gonna wind up crushing yourself with it. It fits best though on the back end of a leg day after we've done our other critical exercises. Think of your squats, your lunges, the deadlifts that are really, really gonna build your glutes. Then we can throw this in at 3 to 5 sets for a nice little finisher, hitting 15 to 20 reps. This is, again though, not an exercise that everybody needs to do. And remember that it is not your rescue from lower back pain, and it is not this amazing lower back exercise that you need to do. The second version, if you're looking to grow your glutes and you want a little bit of a glute pump at the end of a workout, hop on a lower back extension, get something out of it. Remember, think of this not as a lower back move, think of it as a glute move, and it never hurts to grow your glutes.